In today's date, when we are actually talking about working remotely, when I'm trying to give the access to all my users to their entire environment from home, when they are actually going to work on my environment from their home, when I'm looking for the productivity for all the users from my home, I will actually want to make sure that they are accessing it in the correct manner. All my data is secured, the user data or the user information is not compromised, corporate compliance is met, and a lot more stuff. While trying to do all of these, we might want to implement multiple products or multiple product suites, I can say, which can facilitate this kind of an environment in my infrastructure. But while I try to do that, I also need to make sure that the management is easy, management is simple, and whatever I do should be completely at ease of the administrator and also not compromising the user experience at any cost. We have multiple products, multiple different suites that have their own level of speciality, which are going to allow us to do device management or device security and compliance. But when I talk about everything under one single umbrella, it is none other than the Microsoft Mobile Device Application Management Suite. So, when I talk about this suite, this is all where you are trying to give the users a unified experience across Android, across iOS, across their Windows devices. You're trying to give the user the same experience that they might get had they been working from inside the office. You are trying to maintain the integrity and the security of your data not being breached, not losing anything on it, and at the same time making sure that the users have the best possible flexibility and features to work seamlessly from wherever they are. So when I talk about mobility over here, the product which is going to satisfy all of this for us is going to be my Microsoft Intune or Microsoft 365 mobile device and application management platform. In today's date, the biggest challenge that any corporate organization would have would be a user versus the IT management. For example, a user will look for several things like working easily from any kind of a device, may that be laptop, desktop, may that be any tablet, or may that be a mobile phone. Access everything on familiar apps, not giving them unusual applications or unusual resources across different platforms. So I must be giving them applications which are accessible in a uniform manner across all the devices, and at the same time sharing information and collaborating with co-workers in the environment hassle free. While trying to meet these kind of user expectations, we need to make sure that we are also keeping up to the corporate productivity challenges. Like, I might want to make sure that my resources are 100% secured and not accessed by any unauthorized user. Sorry, I would want to have my corporate data protected and secured under every single resource that I'm giving to the user, and at the same time I would want to manage more with a simple and a unified console. Now, while I would want to have all of these in place, there would be different verticals of customers who can achieve different benefits out of it. When I say different verticals of customers, I would want to precisely mention over here only two different types of customers that we can have. One would be the customer who is only using cloud products. When I say only using cloud products, means probably you can say a fresh new customer for your products and the suite. If I talk about such customers who are only using cloud solutions, in that case, there will be a list of benefits that these customers will get. For example, these customers will be completely in the cloud, and since they are completely in the cloud, the management for these kind of customers is going to be pretty much simple. These users in the cloud environment will be a completely mobile workforce. When I say mobile workforce, they would be working from anywhere and everywhere across multiple offices, remote offices, from home, from field, anywhere. And they can have a completely versatile device platform. May that be a mobile phone, or may that be a laptop or a desktop. So when I have these kind of cloud only customers, they can benefit using the mobile device management policies that are being provided by your M365 suite, because they will not need any kind of an on-premise infrastructure. It will be all completely cloud managed. The other type of customers that I might have are going to be hybrid customers who are using on-premise as well as they are using the cloud environment. These kind of customers are the ones who are synchronizing their on-premise identity solution like Active Directory with the Azure Active Directory. They have multiple layers of operating system, but they have been continuously migrating since past years. And they require to keep everything on-premise, still manage the accessibility to those on-premise resources from the cloud. For such users, you have the benefit which can show you the complete insight of your environment, may that be in cloud or may that be on premise. So using my one single platform of Microsoft Mobility Management, we can have complete insights of our cloud as well as on premise compliance infrastructure. You can enforce policies to on premise using the cloud environment, making the accessibility to on premise even harder. And lastly, the same fundamental remains for the cloud customers as well as the hybrid customers, and that is to have a consolidated one single view to everything that you are doing. In today's date, managing policies using the cloud platform has become pretty much seamless. So if I check to my left, I have my on premise where I'm using my native Active Directory infrastructure with SCCM and collaborating it with Intune. To the right also I have something exactly similar to that, but what I am doing is in 2000, I mean in my to my left, whatever that I used to do in early days like in 2012 to 2016, everything used to be managed using my group policy in spite of having the cloud infrastructure. Now today you will have the same environment, but the concept of policies has moved to Intune because Intune has much more advanced and aggressive policies to do your device management. Moreover, whatever we used to do in our environment in the early 2000s was only pertaining to Windows. Intune is by default giving you the complete spectrum of managing your Androids, plus managing your iOS, plus managing your Windows devices. In iOS and in iPads, you can do the complete management that you want. Like you can manage all your corporate apps using your Intune policies, like all my apps that are being installed by my company. I can do my device enrollment type selection. I can manage a good level of control on those devices. And then lastly, what I have is an automated device enrollment where I would be making the accessibility to the device so strict that the user can only see the content on that device, including only those applications which I permit the user to have. So, practically speaking, the iOS and the iPad management on your Intune platform is pretty much robust and gives you n number of settings that can be provided, and still growing the count of the features that you can manage. iPad OS management, which is actually your iOS only apparently, has got some new introductions also that have been provided by Microsoft these days. For example, you can access, you can limit, or you can redesign the user's control on the network drives or the files that are being saved. And you can also define how over the USB will the files be accessed on your iPads. So when I say iOS and iPad management, there is a comprehensive set of settings which we can, implement and configure over there in order to make sure that the device is completely under the control of the organization. It not only offers you the application and the device management, it also offers you something called as your data protection. So when I say data protection, let's say for example, I am talking over here about an application called Microsoft Word, as you can see in the illustration. Over here in this Word file, I will be in this Word application, I might open a file which is a corporate data, and at the same time, in the same application, I might also open a file which is a personal data. Imagine you are actually distinguishing two different types of files, means the corporate file and the personal file on the same application. Still, the application is potentially capable enough to define the rights on those documents that you have over there in place. You have app protection and mobile threat defense, which lets you define that, let's say for example, you have a user who is not having any device provided by the company, but the user has his own personal Apple device which he onboards with the corporate policies. In that case, on those devices I might not have any management or any kind of control. So what I might implement over there is going to be my app protection policies, where I will not be controlling the device at all. What I will be only and only and only controlling are going to be the apps that are installed on that device to access the corporate data. You install Microsoft Edge, which is a considerably improved browser these days. I love Edge personally on Androids and iOS both. And once you push Edge, you can have that browser also controlled using policies in your environment. You can have extensive reporting, as I told you, a single console for managing and monitoring your entire mobility infrastructure. This is the power that you get. So today, probably if I have the IT guy sitting home and he has his employees sitting in different parts of the same region or even globally somewhere, the administrator can simply go to that one single portal, to one single console, and pull out the complete reports of what that user has been doing and where. Endpoint security management. So you can probably have even over here your Windows based or your iOS based or your Android based typical antivirus suites deployed in order to make sure that the devices are completely secured. Need not necessarily be your Windows Defender Advanced Threat Protection, but it can be even other third party tools. Why mentioning Windows Advanced Threat Protection over here is a little important is for a reason that we in today's date might not be aware, but Windows Defender Advanced Threat Protection stands among the top three security product suites available in the industry to protect the endpoints in today's cloud market. You will be able to maintain and manage all your Windows based security baselines. When I say Windows based security baselines, the way you will maintain and manage your iOS updates, your Android updates, you will also want to maintain the security baselines of your Windows as an operating system. And that is also what is seamlessly possible from here and from your portal. You can encrypt the devices to make sure that the user cannot take out data on any of his private storage or on any of his external media. You can define the complete encryption on the end-to-end data that will be transmitted across multiple applications. And while we are defining all of this, we can actually visualize how secured remote working would be when I would be implementing all of these in our environment, especially considering this kind of a situation that we are in today. So you have different layers of configurations that you will set up. You can protect the entire device, or you can just get the device under compliance and manage the applications and some softwares over it, or you can just protect the applications. You can configure the applications, and lastly, even imply protection at the final stage, that is the document or the data level. The way we spoke about iOS, similarly, Microsoft has been collaborating deeply with Google and has invested a lot on Android. When I say invested a lot on Android, here I'm typically talking about publishing applications in the Android Play Store also, making those applications in my Play Store the most stable ones, making sure that those applications are available widely across the globe without any kind of challenges altogether. And lastly, when it comes to Android management, Microsoft provides you an extensive functionality of managing either your personal devices or the corporate owned devices. So when I say personal devices, over here you can have devices on which you will only manage the applications, or you will define a complete suite of management on that device which is going to be controlled by your policies. So it's like you either control the applications or you control the applications as well as the entire device. When it comes to corporate owned devices, you have something called as a dedicated device, which probably can be a kiosk device that we say, or it can be a show device wherein only the defined component might work. Maybe like the mobile handsets that are displayed in a particular store, maybe like the iPads or the tablet devices that might be used by my offshore employees who are traveling on ship and stuff, maybe for some strict banking or finance nature of business of an organization. So to meet the requirement of any organization who just wants a dedicated single application to run on that Android device. And lastly, a fully managed Android device. When I say a fully managed Android device, it means this is going to cover everything right from booting to the files on that device. I can control that device to an extent that it can be given a full fledged factory data reset, and the device can be controlled from the portal without any kind of an interference from the end user who is the owner of the device. So you will either implement devices with only application protection in place, or you might also want to implement complete control, which is called as Android for enterprise. When I talk about managing the devices, here let us get a little more granular to understand that what exactly will this mobile device management do. So mobile device management is going to be capable of controlling your data, controlling your applications and devices at four different layers. For example, if I'm talking about at an email level, it will be able to control the identity of who is sending the email to whom. So basically, an identity based control. The second one that would be the device based control, meaning the device on which I'm actually trying to access the data, whether the device is supposed to access the data or no. The third is going to be at the application layer. So the application inside which I'm trying to open that email. For example, I want my users to access the emails only in the Outlook app and not in the native mail application of Android or iOS. I can configure it, and if after that configuration a user tries to set up an email account in the iOS mail app, it's not going to work. And the last and the final level of security can be implemented at the data level. Now, when I say at the data level, here I'm talking about implementing information rights management and security to make sure that the data is managed and used and circulated only and only across those users who are permitted or entitled to use them. You can define advanced level of conditional access component wherein if a user tries to access it from a device where the policy is not assigned, the user might not get the access to it. But if the user's device is considered and found under the compliance of the organization, all the policies and controls will be systematically pushed and the user will be able to access his data. You can also implement something called as application management, as I showed you even in Android or in iOS. In both the cases, however, that is possible. That let's say you have a BYOD from a user from a very senior management team. You can only control the applications on those devices. In that case, what can you do? I would say you can do a lot. When I say you can do a lot, let's say for example, I am trying to implement application based control on a particular device. My application control policies from Intune are first going to go and validate which are the corporate apps and which are the personal apps. Once the personal apps and the corporate apps have been identified, it will group all the corporate managed applications together and make sure that the data that is being used by these managed apps stays within the managed apps itself. For example, again, I have a Word application on my device which is managed by the compliance policy of my organization. So on this I can open my personal data as well as my corporate data. Now coming to a second level, wherein let's say for example I send you an email with an attachment of an Excel file. The Excel file is actually comprising of some really sensitive data which belongs to the organization. You try to copy the content of that Excel file, or you try to copy the Excel file on the whole and paste it in your personal storage. The access will be denied. You open the Excel sheet, you copy the content and you try to paste it in a Word file, it will get pasted. But when you try to save the Word file on your personal storage, again it will be denied. The data will only be stored on the corporate managed OneDrive, making sure that the user by no means is able to take an access to your data and leak it out. This is the kind of security that we can implement when it comes to doing mobile device management from Microsoft 365 suite. You can encrypt the end-to-end files and the data that is being accessed, and this particular encryption can be at a device level. It can be even at the application level or at the user level, however you wish to place it. As I mentioned, mobile device management solution by Microsoft is capable, Intune is capable of managing your Android devices, your iOS devices, and the Windows devices. But when it comes to Mac devices or the Mac based laptops and desktops, I need an integration to be done with something called as JAMF. JAMF will allow me to do the management of the Mac devices also seamlessly. Microsoft Mobile Device Management and the Enterprise Mobility Solution has always tried to unify the experience of the user across any kind of a device, any kind of an operating system. So today, if I talk about an Android or an iOS device, 90% of us are using either a PIN code, or we are using a facial recognition, a face ID, or a touch ID in order to unlock my device. Something similar has been introduced and it's working seamlessly through Microsoft 365, and that is called as Windows Hello for Business. Using Windows Hello for Business, you can implement again the same biometric based or a pin based login, thereby unifying the experience of the user across Android, iOS, and Windows devices also. Windows Update for Business. We have always been concerned about the patching activities, the Windows update management, and how my operating systems will stay ahead of the race, etc. Because of these kind of concerns, we have been always implementing in our environment solutions like SCCM and the patch management and the WSUS and etc. Coming to M365, Microsoft leverages you with this particular feature, which is the most brilliant feature, that now you need not take care of your Windows 10 updates or security patches or fixes or anything of that sort. It is going to be pushed by Microsoft itself directly on the devices through Intune. Of course, you can only control the schedule. When do you want the updates to be pushed, or when do you want the devices to be restarted? Nothing beyond that. Rest all of it will be taken care of by Microsoft itself, and the devices will be kept completely secured and up to the mark. The way we had some features and some form factors about implementing these kind of solutions for iOS and Androids and even Windows earlier, here there are some things that we need to keep into consideration even when it comes to your endpoint management through Windows. So you have a direct integration from your on-premise system center configuration manager, aka SCCM, which can directly be connected using Intune. So I can have all my devices being managed using SCCM, OSs being deployed using SCCM, but the policies being pushed using Intune. I can define 100% automated configuration of Windows devices, like a zero touch kind of a thing. You go to the Intune portal and you say that all the settings on the user's device should be completely automated. It's going to follow the instruction and keep it automated all the time. Each time that the devices are being updated, there will be, or each time there is there is a change or a different policy that is being pushed on a particular device, your score for that particular device is going to keep on changing, which means that the IT administrator will actually be able to validate something called as your score levels, the security score level, the compliance score level of those devices from the portal, to make sure that all the devices under are a particular baseline hygiene level at least. If not, then there will be an automated remediation solution that you will define to make sure that the device is cured and comes under the required security score. These are the kind of settings, these are the kind of things, guys, that you can do on your mobility and device management suite. You have iOS and iPad management, again, which I already spoke to you about. Mac OS management, that is integration through JAMF. So today, if we are talking again about the fundamental of modern workplace, where I have users coming in with their own device, where I have a lot of restrictions to implement, considering my corporate data security and integrity, there are concerns with organizations whether they should move to cloud or not. On top of that, this situation where remote working is been forced to every customer, it is we who can go to them and explain them, boss, when you're going to the cloud, you are actually making your environment 5 times more secure than what it actually can be in your on-premise environment. Remote working, modern desktop management, mobility, and security in today's date is one single umbrella for M365, making it the highest sold technology product in 2019-20 across the globe. It has a complete support and implementation flexibility for Microsoft Office 365 Professional Plus in order to make sure that your users are getting access to all the applications which are relevant and pertaining to them, and some add-on applications like, let's say, Microsoft Bookings or Microsoft Planner, etc., etc. Considering an illustration over here, let's say you have an Apple device. On that Apple device, you have implemented your security and compliance for your organization. On that Apple device, let's say your user enters the username and password of your organization and tries to access some data which he may be entitled to or which belongs to that username. The moment the user is going to enter the password, is going to be asked for an approval, that is a two-factor authentication, which again is the new normal today. You will be implementing a two-factor authentication for every single user in your environment to make sure that the security is never compromised, and if at all ever an MFA is not met, then it will be considered as a user sign-in risk. This approval can come either on the device itself or on a smart wear device that the user might be using. May that be a smart watch, may that be any kind of a device which is paired with the actual device. Once the authentication is approved, the application is going to come completely under the security and compliance of the organization, and the data will start flowing across that application. It will force the user to explicitly set security or PIN, you can say, to authenticate on that application, so that it becomes a second layer of security on that application or the data inside that application. And then, let's say, for example, as I told you, you have a Word document that has been shared. You open the Word document and you try to save it on your Google Drive. It gives you a pop-up saying save is not allowed on any kind of an application like this. You probably then went to the file and smartly selected some content and you said copy and tried to paste it on your personal application, that is Notes. And that is what you get as pasted. Your organization's data cannot be pasted here. This was a short illustration on how things can work in an enterprise mobility or a security environment. Intune today, I would say, guys, is the need of the hour, which we need to give to the end customers so that they can start facilitating out of it. Earlier, a couple of months back, if I see, it was only a part of your E3 and E5 and the standalone products. Nowadays, Intune is also available with basic products like your M365 Business Premium. It can be given to the customers as a standalone product. And today is the time when implementing such kind of solutions in the environment would be extremely necessary in order to make sure that none of your corporate security breaches are impacting your working environment. At the same time, users are getting seamless accessibility from home, may that be on their own device or may that be on a corporate managed device, may that be a Windows device or may that be any other operating system based device. This is a short summary from my end with regards to enterprise mobile device and application management. We can now have a quick question and answer session with all of you based on whatever questions you would want to ask. I would be more than happy to answer them, and then we can wind up the session. Thank you so much. Junaid, I
Thank you
think we are
so
good to
much.
conclude.
Yes, thank you so much, Ronak, for such an insightful session. I think it was a very interactive and insightful session. Thank you once again, and thank you everybody for attending the webinar. Stay home, stay safe.
Thank you.